Hello, everybody. How are you?
There, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's Thursday. It's 1 o'clock. It's time for Opposite Saxes.
Saxes.
Hey,
Hey, hey.
I'm going to get right into it because of interesting development recently, and I'm not sure if it's just in the state of Texas or just in our community, or if this is something I think that's happening nationwide. I keep seeing more and more about it. Is they are I can't say outlawing, I guess it is. They're outlawing the use of cell phones in schools, that all students must now have their phones uh, off or silenced. I'm not even sure all the
Did you say it's just in Texas?
I don't know if it is just in Texas. We just recently got a notice from, locally that our grandson, who's a sophomore in high school and all, is not going to be allowed to use his phone during school hours. When they come in, no phone use. Most of these kids have
Hmm.
got phones for, uh, emergency purposes and all. And I agree, over the years, what they do is sometimes they sit at their desk in class and they're texting each other or whatever.
Yeah.
They go out at lunch or go to the restrooms and they're talking.
And they go to the bathrooms and they probably call their
Right.
friends.
And so this is to curtail use of cell phones during school hours. So the students will be attentive to what they're there for. And I support that. And it even goes a step further, I think, and it's for teachers. The teachers are
The
also
teachers are banned from using their
have
phone.
have to have their phones again. I'm not sure if it's totally turned off or whether it is silenced. And if you got a locker, it's in your locker. If you don't have a locker, it's tucked into your backpack, or you're they're trying to encourage them to just leave their phones at home.
Okay, well, so it is in Alabama, no phone rule,
Okay.
Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, New York, and Virginia.
Okay. So no doubt it's something that is probably going to expand either
Right.
nationwide or into more states. Uh, so, I guess our discussion, today was, how do you feel about that? Uh, because initially, with the growth of cell phones, the idea was to have children in contact with their parents, on an emergency basis, and that was the only time they were supposed to use the phones. We know that didn't happen. Uh, but if everybody's got to leave their phones at home or they got to leave them in their lockers, what happens if there is an emergency?
Well, first of all, let me just say it is just not the students that they're trying to curtail from using their phones.
Yeah, well,
Because our grandson has told us numerous times that some of the teachers are on their phones a lot in the classroom.
I don't doubt it. If the teacher says, "Okay, open up your test book and you have 1 hour to complete the test," what's the teacher going to do for an hour? So they sit there and they're
Well,
texting or
it's not
playing
necessarily his complaint, but he says they were on them all the time.
while they're teaching.
Instead of teaching, they'd be on their phones and they would just tell the kids to read something and then
Oh,
they'd get on their
well, that's what I
phones.
say. Go ahead and do
Um,
this, and they either step out of the classroom or they sit behind their
so
desk
it's
and take.
not only the kids. Um, but getting back to what you asked, it's I don't mind the rule. I think it's a great rule. Somehow we all got along without phones and beepers and all that,
Yeah,
when
well,
we were
yeah,
growing
it
up.
addresses one issue.
But I will
Yeah.
tell you something. And this sounds really probably strange to some people that aren't familiar with school clubs or the band. But our grandson's in the band, and very often he'll have to call his parents, come earlier to pick me up, come later. Don't meet me there, meet me here, because they might be outside practicing, or maybe they're inside practicing. And sometimes things change. Normally, you'd be out by the curb and you'd pick up the kid. There's 300 kids in band. You are not allowed to park in front of the school. Now the parents have to park all the way out in the parking lot. Sometimes when you get to the fall and winter, it's dark out. So things change, and I think for that reason, I'm glad that he has the phone to call. And I have to be honest, there have been a couple times I almost didn't make it to pick him up in time because of traffic or construction or whatever. And I know he gets a little nervous.
All right,
And so I would feel better calling and saying, I'm okay, I'm coming,
yeah,
but don't get nervous.
you bring up a couple of points though. If it's something that's after school, I mean, he walks out of the school and he turns his phone on and he starts calling or texting.
Yeah.
But you said earlier, if he finds out that he's got to stay a half hour after school for band or whatever, how is he going to reach out to his parents during school if he can't use the phone? Or if the kids still have their phones with them, which they
Right.
would because in our case, they don't have lockers. So everything they have is in their backpack. Are they supposed to, in those few minutes that they have to get from class 2 to class 3,
Right.
open up their phone, text
Right.
their parents, have to stay,
Right.
have pick me up at 5:30 instead of 4,
Right.
or 5.
Right.
So, you know,
But that's something, but at least he has it. He's going to go to the office and he's going to call, and every other kid is going to go to the
are
office.
standing in line.
My parents, because, or I forgot this thing or that thing, which is on them. I mean,
Yeah.
they should be remembering. But when it comes to picking up, or whatever, or if the parents have to get a hold of them to say, I have to stay late at work.
Well, now the reverse though, I think if a parent calls and needs to tell their child that
They're running later.
their aunt passed away or whatever, and then they need to come pick them up at school, they call the school,
Well,
and the
that's true.
school can
They'll
notify
get
the student
That's
if
true.
they need to pull them out of class.
That's very true.
That's a way to get around the cell phone use. But I'm sure that the major concern was that during class period, kids were using their phones
Absolutely.
to interact with each other.
Absolutely.
You brought up another point that was that this now means that the kids cannot use their phones for school purposes, like to access a calculator
Yeah, we were
to
discussing that last
to do
night.
something.
Yes.
However, most of these kids use iPads now, or what's it called?
He's a Chromebook. I don't know if a
Chromebook.
Chromebook has that. God forbid, I'm sure that they can buy a $9.99 calculator and they
Yeah.
can have that in their backpack.
Well, the Chromebook probably has calculator in it, but the
I don't
Chromebook
know.
would not allow them to have any kind of outside access
Right.
to phone lines.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
so as far as whatever.
Yeah, no, that you don't have to worry about that or emails or
Yeah,
anything
okay.
like that.
I mean, unfortunately, this is kind of the other side of technological advances, is that when technology has gotten to the point where, you know, for instance, the teacher asks a question, kid can take out his phone and put it into the phone to get
Right.
the answer.
Yeah.
Just Google it. Whatever the topic is. Well, they can't do that now. They can't use their phones to Google something to get an answer.
Not only
They might
that,
be able to do it on their Chromebook.
but I'm thinking if our grandson texts his friend in the third row and says, "What's the answer to this question?" Because I don't know it. And the kid texts him back.
That
So,
might have been a downside of having that ability when you could just, when they were taking their phones out and using it for that. Yeah. I mean, I
I
agree.
thought of that.
But I think that the overall what they said was, look, instead of dealing with all of these little issues,
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no phone use from the time you walk into school until you get out at the end of the day. I mean, maybe at lunch because they go to the cafeteria or they go
Right.
outside. I don't know whether it's
Well,
restricted.
originally he could have it at lunch
Yeah.
last year or the year before. He could take it out at lunchtime.
Did they stop that this year?
Oh yeah, there's not supposed to be any phones, period, in the school.
Yeah.
Technically. Now,
That's
some of
the
the
key
teachers,
word,
some of the
technically.
teachers are saying if you keep the phone off and if it's in your backpack the entire day, We don't want to see the phone.
Well,
We
but
don't want to see the phone.
yeah, that's the point that I was
So-
making is the fact that these kids do not have lockers to
Right.
lock up their
That's the
backpacks
main problem.
during the day or whatever.
Yeah.
So their phone is not out of sight, out of mind.
No.
The phone is still physically with the students in their backpacks. It's just a matter of how are these students going to get around it? If they say to teacher, can I go to the restroom? And then they take their phone out of their backpack while they go to the bathroom, and that's when they take it out and they communicate. But they can do it with the audio off. They can mute their phones,
Yes. Yes.
but they can still text without having the phone
But if they're seen, they
engaged.
say it's going to be expulsion, it's going to be suspension.
Yeah, you're right. You said that the first thing they can do is they send the kid down to the office or whatever, and they say call the parents and tell the parents to come and pick up the
Right.
phone or pick up the kid with the phone. One of the, I mean, it's what it's doing is it is detracting from the purpose that the kids are at school for,
Mhm.
and that is to learn. Now, because this is a new law, or it's a law in some states and not in others, they're going to probably have to see how's this going to work for this year. And no doubt they're going to have to tweak it and some kids that have medical issues may have to get
A waiver?
a waiver.
I don't know.
You know,
I don't know.
so what? Okay,
That's going to be
I'm
a,
playing devil's advocate. What
yeah.
about the kid that's got juvenile diabetes and they've got to check
They go to the
uh,
nurse.
well, but they've got a thing on their phone that they can put on their arm, and it tracks their blood sugar level to see if they need to push a button on their abdomen to inject some insulin. Now, are you going to take into consideration that there may be a student or two that has to have their phone for that purpose and say, okay, you can use it,
I
but
don't
for
know.
that
I'm
purpose
sure they
only?
can work it out.
I think the more restrictions they come up with, the more blowback they're going to get for it, and the more parents
Hey,
or whatever are going to say, "Wait a minute, that's okay as a general rule, but my kid."
well, that's when the senator, the representative, they
Oh,
get voted out
boy.
at the next term because parents don't want that. What else can you do? I
Well,
mean, now I'm thinking that maybe you can write a parent can write a letter to the principal asking for a waiver.
that's what I'm
And
saying.
but
Yeah.
they may say, no, you just go down to the nurse's office at the time you have to check it and show your phone then. And
Now the child's got a process that really only takes probably a minute or less to check. Take the phone
now
because
he has to be,
I've seen the new patch technology and
yeah.
everything, and they look at the phone and say, "Okay, my blood sugar is okay."
Right.
Turn the phone off, back in the backpack,
But now they have to go leave this classroom in front of the kids,
and
and
take it.
they have to go to the nurse. And I don't know. It'll be interesting. I cannot wait to hear from our grandson to see how this goes, and a
If
few things.
if the kids are actually expelled from school because they use their phone during school hours.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this goes on. I'm interested to see about these Ten Commandments. If
Oh,
we're going
that's
to have the
another
Ten
issue.
Commandments, which is a whole other story. If
Separation of church and state.
Yeah, if that's going to be in the classroom, they talked about that. At first, it was only like K through 6, K through 8. Now I think it's all the schools. If there will be a moment of silence for prayer. I mean, things are rapidly changing. It's it's tough to be a parent in this day and age. Let
Yeah.
me say that.
And are they going to outlaw the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of school
No,
because it says one nation under God?
I can't see that. But hey, one never knows. Um, it should be an interesting year.
Yeah,
Can't
and
wait.
every year they come up with a new restriction. And of course, let's face it, folks, most of the rules that we have to live by today are because somebody took advantage of something, and so they decided to make a rule against it. Case in point, I think about our own the pool that we have in our complex. When we moved here 13 years ago or something, I remember as you went to the entrance to the pool, there was a couple of signs, the pool
Pool
rules
rules.
and everything, no glass containers, no dogs, you know. Well, then somebody did something else like, and no this after dark, put a sign up. The new pool hour, well, no, there's no lifeguard on duty, swim at your own risk.
Well, they have to for insurance purposes
And
too.
now the wall, when you walk into the pool, you could spend a half an hour just reading the restrictions that are posted up on the wall because somebody did it the other way and something happened. Somebody got
Yep.
injured because somebody brought a glass container in and dropped it and it
No,
yeah,
now the latest thing is a few of the kids rode their scooters
yeah,
into the pool area.
yeah, the
Well,
motorized scooters.
so
And
that's a whole nother, that's another line.
so they put in a
And
bike
no,
rack, and you have to put not only your
well, there
bikes
was
in
a
the
bike
bike
rack.
rack,
There is a bike
but you have
rack.
to put scooters in the
Right.
bike rack.
I mean, whoever thought
So
that that you'd have to put something down for no scooters in the pool area? I just, who knows?
rules, rules,
Yeah,
rules.
that's what this should have been
But folks,
titled.
the the main point we're trying to lay on you is that you're getting ready to send your kiddos back to school and all, and you better make sure that they know that the phone is off and in the backpack until lunch or until
If
they
they
get
have
out.
that lock
Yeah.
in wherever you live. I mean, it's just everybody's
Yeah.
different. We don't have lockers. The next state might.
Because the last thing you want to do is you're busy at work and all of a sudden the phone rings and said, "Come pick up your kid because they just turned their phone on in school." And you think, "What?"
Yes, it's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah, yeah.
But one thing is just make sure that you reach out and click on the yes button to come see us again next Thursday
We'll be here.
at 1 o'clock. We'll be here, and our phones are currently off. Bye.
Bye.